one. All right, so
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yes. For information, all protocols to be observed, masks, social distancing, washroom facility to the outside, male and female, and to the inside, behind the walls, using ladies and gents. We have water, so things at the back, with the coolers. So any assistance, we are here. Thank you very much. Things at the back, with the coolers.
Those wishing to sign the guest book.
So you could share on it.
Princess Vrindavan Vihari Lal ki, brothers, sisters, children, sons, grandchildren, members of the public. Today is a very solemn day in the lives of the Kowlessar family. A person who they call father, their dad, who lived upon this earth for many years, today is the last day you will see him in this world, in the body. So we are here to pay respects for this man, this gentleman by the name of Lalman Kowlessar. And we all pray in our hearts for one thing, that we have come from God, and with God's grace we have gotten the opportunity to stay upon this land and to live for many years. It is said according to Sanatana Dharma, Aye bhi akela, jaye bhi akela, do din ki zindagi, do din ka vela. I have come into this land, I have come into the world for just 2 days. Sometimes we live 70, 80, 90, 100 years. But the Bhajan says 2 days. Which is the 2 days? The 2 days is the day you have come upon this earth, and the second day is the day you left. And every single thing that happens during your life, during the first day and the last day, is dependent upon the parents who brought you here, the people around you, and you yourself. God gave you that opportunity to live as you see fit and reach to the highest pinnacle of your life. Today we are here because Lalman have lived his life. He have lived the highest pinnacle of his life. So today he is leaving. So please, let us all stand for the way. Om Bhakti Prabhu Sarvasangha Krishna Kundita Sabsabe Street. Om Prastapya Shana Smurtyami, Om Prastapya Shana Smurtyami, Om Prastapya Shana Smurtyami, Om Prastapya Shana Smurtyami. You will sit over there. Om Narayana, Madhavayana, Ishwarayana, 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 Om Prastapya Shana, Om Prastapya Shana, Om Prastapya Shana, Om Prastapya Shana, Om Om Krishna Deva Krishna Deva Krishna Om Krishna Om Krishna Deva Krishna Deva Krishna Om Kriya Krishna Deva Krishna Om Adhyam Protesya Om Adhyam Protesya Om Kriya So today, the 26th of day of December 2021, at this place, the Brian Lara National Cricket Center, the children of the deceased, this performance is last night.
Yeah, particularly use it because other people online.
Yes, right. Also take your leave. Take your leave to this, right? Hari Om. Om Sri Vishnu 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 Padya Shri Brahma Dvitiya Paradhare Shri Shwet Parakalpe Vaivasva Vishra Astavi Shanti Vekali Vekali Kutum Srinadeshe Amuk Rame Arvar Vatan Brahmavarti Karasi Punyan Shri Bora Avatare Varnam Samvatsari Sankesheshu Shu Dhareshu Yata Yata Rasistans Kasu Amuk Nam Yachanamasa Tikale Amuk Paritasya Tikapadane Anteshtigan Ahankeshe Om Shri Vishnu Namaha Om Shri Vishnu Namaha Om Shri Vishnu Namaha You can say. Om Kilatam Chamanapunyam Om Kilatam Chamanapunyam Papanashmanapadam Pumarati Harijam Om Adhyami Gurutasya Amopritasya Sri Shauni Buddha Chandramai Yes. Om Adhyami Gurutasya Amopritasya Shauni Buddha Gandhamai Riti Taupatishtatan. What did you? Touch the two hands. Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Shaunita Anamahidi Taupatishtatan. Just one more. No, no. Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Shaunita Anamahidi Taupatishtatan. This is Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Anamahidi Taupatishtatan. Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Pushpamala Mediti Taupatishtatan. Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Shaunita Pushpamala Mediti Taupatishtatan. Om Adhyam Gurutasya Amupritasya Shaunita Pushpamala Mediti Taupatishtatan. Om Yat Purusham Pushpamala Mediti Dota Pushpam. Om Yat Purusham Pushpamala Mediti Dota Pushpam. Om Shomita Sugana Mediti Dota Pushpam. Om Adyam Rutasya Amukrishamita Ganda Mediti Dota Pushpam. Om Adyam Rutasya Amukrishamita Ganda Mediti Dota Pushpam. Om Adyam Rutasya Amukrishamita Ganda Mediti Dota Pushpam. Everybody stand. Om Yam Raj Mahagore Anantamase Rito Yamayati Krishna Om Adyam Rudasya Mukti Krishamita Deepam Mayati Krishna Om Adyam Rudasya Mukti Krishamita Deepam Mayati Krishna Om Yam Raj Mahagore Anantamase Rito Deepoyam Tava Upakashtakam. Om Yam Dware Mahagore Anantam Sarvite Deepo Yam Tava Upakashtakam. All right, we'll go to sit. What we can say to him? To live, we must. Nobody is assured life forever. But there will come a day for each one of us that we will have to say goodbye. This is one reality that sometimes we cannot get accustomed to. Death is something no one gets accustomed to. But eventually it will come to our home someday. And everyone, every human being, it is said that once you are born upon this earth, then you are a mortal human being. And you will have to leave. There was a great man once who wanted to get immortality. And he was told to go to a certain pond, a lake, and take a dip where you will get the everlasting life. And before he dipped himself into the pool, he saw a bird sitting. And the bird was looking at him and he was looking at the bird. So he said to the bird, "Oh bird, why are you sitting looking at me like this?" The bird said, "I know what you have come to this lake for. You want to get immortality, you want to live forever. But please don't, I have made that mistake. And I am sitting here for thousands and thousands of years wishing to die, because I took a bath this morning here in the city. And look at it, everything pass, come and go, come and go. I'm sitting here for eons just looking on. Please don't take a dip at that point. For it is natural for us to born and die. It is a natural procedure. And there are many different teachings. In the Rig Veda it said, Ekam Sat Vipra Bhagavatam. God is one. We will find his name in many different ways. We will call him. Whatever name we call him by, he will answer. But as a human being, observe the reality of your life. Realize the purpose of your life and live as a human being. So there's a very, very beautiful bhajan here. It goes like this. भगवान मेरी नैया उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया है आगे भी निभा देना भगवान मेरी नैया उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया है आगे भी निभा देना दल बल की साथ माया गिरे जो मुझाकर दल बल की साथ माया गिरे जो मुझाकर तू देखते ना रहना जग आंख बचा लेना भगवान मेरी नैया उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया है आगे भी निभा देना संभव है झंझट में मैं तुमको भूल जाऊं संभव है झंझट में मैं तुमको भूल जाऊं पर नाथ कहा तुम भी मुझको न बुला देना भगवान मेरी नैया उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया है आगे भी निभा देना It says Bhagwan, today I am the shores and I'm waiting for that boat to take me across this ocean of samsara. I'm leaving this worldly plane and I'm taking a journey towards your abode. Be my boatman, take me across safely. He said, संभव है झंझट में मैं तुमको भूला जाऊं. He says, in this world I have lived, and not every day I will say a prayer, and not every day I will remember you, not every day I will be in a good mood. Sometimes I may forget to say thank you, Lord, for this gift of life. But today I'm leaving, I'm all alone. I'm leaving everything. I'm leaving my house and my land and my money and my car and my children and my wife and all the I love. And you know, importantly, I'm also leaving the thing that I love the most, myself. I'm leaving my body here. I'm leaving everything, even my body, I'm leaving it. But in this world, there are many ups and downs, but I want you at this moment, O Lord. For only you alone is there with me. I want you to look at me every second. Every second I want you to be with me. For now I'm taking a journey all alone, and you are my only friend. You are my only companion. You are my only everything. In this world, I have many friends, I have many family. I have acquainted with so many people, but today I'm leaving to adhere to his request and be with him there for every moment. As he takes the travel from this world to the next, we ask the Lord to always protect him, guide him, and let him reach his journey to his destination safely. For this is we ask. God has given us this very beautiful body. It is said in the Ramayana, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Bade Bhagya Manush Tan Pava सुर दुर्लभ सब ग्रंथन गावा साधन दाम मोक्ष कर ज्वारा पाइन जेहि परलोक सवारा श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम अयोध्या के राजा रामचंद्र की. So Rama Kowlessar said, out of the 8,400,000 species of things that you have created, animate, inanimate, multicellular, singular cellular, things that you can see and things that you cannot see, and everything in the heavens and in the cosmos, you have created everything. But, oh Lord, you said that the best of your creation is man. I've created many things, and the best of creation is man. And you also say, those who have attained this human form and fail to reach you, then something is wrong. If we have attained this human being form, which everyone, and every entity wants to gain a human form to live upon this earth, I will give you a little something. You know, life may be like this. We may have difficult times. We may have very beautiful times. But we don't want to give up this body for any other form. We love this human body. Why? Because Trinidad is a land of doubles, you know. And you go to the doubles man and you say, I want one double with slight pepper. And he gives you it. And when you finish it, you find that it wasn't the burning wasn't enough. So he said, give the second one, put a little more pepper. Even though it is burning you are enjoying it. Even though it is not so comfortable in your mouth, you are enjoying it because you want some more pepper in it. So to life, regardless of what happens in our life, we enjoy it until this point in time when the body has but four things remaining. It has some of the air, it has water, it has earth, right? And only one something have left. That spark that God given you to live. The spark of divinity that comes from God. That spark of divinity, that is the only thing that have left in God. But the body is normal, it's normal. This is why the sons walk around the body and says, oh body, you once contained that divinity of God. And now that divinity have left you. Because this divinity controlled your every movement. With this spark of divinity within you, you are able to see and speak and talk and walk and hear. But only that little spark has left you today. And you are lying down here, body, without any movements, you are now. And because of that divinity that once dwelt into you, that divinity that once occupied the shell, I bow to you. May that divinity reach its abode, because we are about to perform our last rites, and the last thing we are going to do is to put this body into fire, where it will be cremated and all the elements will go back exactly where they come from. The air will go back to the air, the water will go back to the water, the space that once occupied inside will go back to space, and the earth will return back to the earth. but a soul that once lived in you and caused you to perform many actions, that soul will take all the memories that you have upon this earth. And upon reaching the King of Justice, he will say, "Oh my child, oh my loving child, I have sent you to Mrityalok. I have sent you to Mrityalok." Mrityalok is Mrityu. Mrityu is a Sanskrit word that means death. Lok means planet. I have sent you to the planet of death, the world. What have you brought back for me? What did you do for me? And what the soul will tell the Lord is his story. What did he do? Yesterday was Christmas. Some of us will give a lot of gifts. We did something. We will make a child smile. And if you make a child smile at a tender age, that child will never ever forget you. Even though you go to an old man, and that child become a big person, you will always remember that day that you make him smile. And you have respect for him too. So let us join in this very beautiful bhajan. For those who know, you can sing it. आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। भटक रहे हम राह दिखा दे भगवन, राह दिखा दे। भटक रहे हम राह दिखा दे भगवन, राह दिखा दे। कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन, किरण दिखा दे। कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन, किरण दिखा दे। इन अखियों की प्रभु करा दे, इन अखियों की प्रभु करा दे ज्योति से पहचान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। हम तो है संतान तिहारी प्रभु, संतान तिहारी। तेरी दया के हम अधिकारी प्रभु, है हम अधिकारी। दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारी, दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारी। तेरी सारे वरदान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। Devotees, he's saying, or the family is saying today, we are in a little darkness. We are in a little darkness because the light and the space that you occupy will be no more. The smile and laughter that you brought to us, that will be no more. But the sun will shine again. Just like you get cut with a knife or some object, you get cut. At the immediate moment, it will seem that I will die because I've got wounded and it's bleeding and hurting. But as time passes, the wound will heal. And when the wound is healed, there will be no more pain. But what will remain is a scar. And anytime you look at that scar, you will say, I once had got bruised there, cut there, but the scar remains. So too, Laman Kowlessar may leave today, but forever he will be remembered in the minds of his wife and his children. Forever. As long as you are living upon this earth, you will remember him in some way. And the nice things he used to say, the smile, the laughter, the gaiety he brought in their family, and more so, the upbringing of his family, the work he did to ensure that his family is well. And this is what we have come upon this earth. God gave you a chance to come on this earth to live. Because With all the sciences we know, there's no way they have found that we can live again. With all the sciences. And you can travel light years away. And who wants to travel light years away? And there's a beautiful place there to live. But the only place that we know is this world. And in the Sanatana Dharma, it is said there's something called Agaman. And we believe in reincarnation. We believe that I have come, but before I came here, I was somewhere before. And I'm at present now, and I want to come back again because there's no way that we have found that man can live like this. In this world, where you can have friends, and family, children, and also enemies who teach you so much. Also enemies who teach you so much in your life. In the Bhagavad Gita it says, Antakale chamami vasmaran mukha kalaram yaha prayati sammadam yati nasya tra shamsheha. It is said that at the time, at the moment that we are leaving this world, if we remember God for one moment before we leave, then it is said that you will see God. There is no doubt about it. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. If at the point of death you think of me, or you remember that silver comb, or you remember me in any form, then you are coming to me. And if you come to me, then you are blessed. But how can we remember God if we don't live a life that is conducive to godliness? We have to remember God at the time we are living. And if we don't remember God, that means during the time of our natural life, then we have forgotten God. And many things will come to my mind at the end of my time. Many, many things. Someone said, Pandit, but if we die in an unconscious state, then how we are going to say, or how are we going to remember? I said, but before you got unconscious, you were conscious. But before you got unconscious, you were conscious. And at that time, at the last moments before you get unconscious, you got call out the name of God in any form and fashion that you know. God is one, man will call him by many, many different names. And if we call God by any names, then he will remember us. Because there are many different forms that we pray. We pray in many different forms. And whatever form you pray, God will listen to you. God will answer to your prayer in any way. Because God is supreme. And because He's supreme, He can be anything and He can be anywhere and everywhere at the same time. Even sitting in his heavenly throne, He can be everywhere at the same time, tending to the request of every human being and listening to the call of every animal, every creature on the world at the same time. This is the potency of God because He's Almighty. After this bhajan, if there is anyone who wishes to come and sing a bhajan, or there is anyone who wants to read something, say something, gently. मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो, लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो युगल चरण में ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। जीवन दे के जान बिछाया, रच के माया नाच नचाया, नाच नचाया। चिंता मेरी तभी मिटेगी, चिंता मेरी तभी मिटेगी, जब चिंतन में ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। तुमने लाखों पापी तारे, मेरे बारी बाजी हारी बाजी हारी मेरे पास न पुण्य की पूंजी मेरे पास न पुण्य की पूंजी पद पूजन में ले लो राम मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम राम है राम राम है राम घर घर अंत को घर घर बत को कहाँ कहाँ अपना सरपट को इस जीवन में मिलो न तुमको राम हे राम इस जीवन में मिलो न तुमको मुझे मरण ले लो राम मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम फ्रेंड्स अयोध्या के राजा रामचंद्र की at this point, any member or any member who wants to say something?
Thank you, Pandit. We now move on to the eulogy. I will go for Mr. Anthony Singh.
Sitaram, good morning, everyone. I never thought Lama would die. I grew up always seeing him as an eternal person, and therefore to come and watch this was more difficult than I thought it would have been. My name is Anthony Singh. I'm a teacher at Presentation College Students. I first encountered Lal in 1974 when I entered as a student. He was a teacher, a history teacher, and he was the cricket coach at all levels in school. He had attained his Bachelor of Arts with honors, and I believe that they gave him the title of, or the position of coach. When he started to teach in 1968, immediately he was appointed cricket coach. And that probably was because of the fact that he played cricket for the college in those days as St. Philip and St. James and then as Presentation College. Truth be told, however, I discovered later on in life that Lal couldn't play cricket at all. In 1980, there was a teacher's strike. I was in lower six, and we had a team that could have beat any team in Trinidad and Tobago, but we were denied the opportunity because secondary schools cricket had to be cancelled. So he took it upon himself to enter us into a big man competition, the CCA. He was one of the men running CCA. So he appointed himself captain, open batting, open bowling. And after 2 games, we started discouraging and said, hear this now. Try and bat a little lower down the order. And if we needed a ball, we would tell you, right? And that is how it went. After, we couldn't take away the captaincy from him at that time. It would have looked a little bad. So it's then we discovered the lack of ability on the cricket field. However, we knew what he was capable of as a teacher and as a cricket coach. He was a father figure to all of us, as we grew up year after year. Boys who were nurtured under him on the cricket field. He was a father figure to all of us. Wherever we go, whatever games had to play, We always had meals, and he never left school until every child was on his way home. Never, never, never abandoned us at no point in time. He had a craving for watermelon. So if we playing games away, anytime you see a watermelon man, I mean, we want to go home, we ain't really care for watermelon. I mean, if you're going to buy something, buy a little Kentucky or something. No, watermelon was it. So we should buy this fast, feed us as we're going down the road, just to make sure we were comfortable. There were times in the early when military regulations didn't allow or they didn't interfere with things that we would do. So when you had the under 14 games, that's the little, right? Sometimes 12 men, well, 12 boys fitting in the car. How? We don't know. 4 in front, 8 in the back, and in the trunk space, you put in the gears. And you're going to play, and you're coming back. The car, however, was another story with Lal. Every time Lal get a new car, whether it's a used car or a brand new car, we used to have bets in the staff room. How long before you get the first dent? Right? Sometimes at 2 weeks, a month. In fact, I don't know, Crystal, if you remember, he had a burgundy color Hillman. Does you remember that? The car had bricks, real trouble, but now will not fix it. But in them days, Shogunas, you didn't have the kind of traffic and all what going on, so many cars on the road and you know. So you could have drive 5 miles an hour down Shogunas main road, was no problem. The problem he had was when he come in school, how to stop the car. So we had a chain link fence, still have they replaced, but up to years ago, a few years ago, we had a chain link fence. That was the bricks. So we as students used to be peeping out from the corner to watch he coming, let me see what he do. And so said, so done. Drive into the chain link fence, car stop, glass down, whatever, he out and he go. Right? That was comical. You had to really see that. But as a teacher, a coach, a manager, he was able to get the best out of all of us as children, as students, even as adults. He was able to do that. Very charismatic in how he carried himself, right? He was what we would consider a veritable knowledge, like an encyclopedia. He knew everything. He knew everything. He was very well read. Okay? Now, coming to class was a story too because you know they say Lamisa, well, he's a hard attack parents. No lace on the shoes. Sometimes the shoes have a hole in it. Because all he's studying at that time, we have to get out on the field. Roger Sand did a nice little piece the other night when he spoke about that. We had to manicure pitch. So that was priority. But in so doing, somehow he got his syllabus done, he got his work done, and the results proved it. In my year, 1979, we wrote Cambridge history. And that was the first time. We got 29 A's in history. That was unheard of. 29 A's on the history tutelage. He's a common class and tell you, I've given you 5 topics, so come for the exam, study it. We study 5 come, I don't do 5 questions. So we ace it. He was that kind of person. The only book he came into class with was a Louis L'Amour. He liked that series too bad. There's a Western novel from North. And in fact, I know he used to trade books with students. So fellas who have books that he didn't read, yeah, you will lend me that. And I will lend him mine. That's the kind of relationship that he would have had with his kids, right? With those children. Okay? So he come in, no chalk, no textbook, but rattling off every bit of information on history. It was impressive, very, very impressive. Even when he took us on the field, while you're picking grass, you get a history class going on in years. Well, Morgan, Pirate, and all of them. Look, I can't even remember all of those things. But he did, and he loved cards. Any week in Central Trinidad, You must find landmark Kowlessar. When you only watch by the card table, I didn't know if he knew who did, but he had to be by the card table. He loved cards. In fact, in school, Basil, we had a little card playing committee. Well, we used to play cards. We used to gamble a little bit in the evening after school. And we created what we call the CPA, the Card Players Association, in the ministry, and the then administration wasn't pleased with that, with that at school. So we said, all right, the name, instead of being the CPA Card Playing Association, we will now be called the Cow, Patel, and Ali Association. Or we fell into that seat just for that purpose, because you're one of the ringleaders in doing that, right? There are lots of stories about him in school, but he extended his reach cricket-wise at the national level. He went down there. He served on so many subcommittees. He was manager of junior teams, right? At his passing, he was second vice president of the TTCD, where we are here today. All right, he traveled the length and breadth of Trinidad with teams. He was a good manager and a very, very, very astute manager. And he had a keen eye for talent. So anywhere you go to see cricket or to Caribbean, you watch him. And every January, he would come by the principal door. See, the past principal here knows very well what I'm talking about. Knock on the door. Yeah, I had two boys I want only 20%. And in them days, we had a junior sec transfer class in Form 4. Yeah, I have three boys I want to bring in that see what you can do for me now. And in fact, Dinanath Ramnarayan, Dinesh Ramdin, Ravi Rampal, just Adrian Barrett, just to name a few, would have entered our premises because of his request and his ability, his keen ability to see those talent. Over the past couple of days, tributes have poured in for Lama Kowlessar from all walks of life, especially the cricket fraternity. A lot of tributes, and that says a great deal about a man who sacrifices family life. I am sure you all didn't see him as much as we saw him. Because when he left, came to school in the morning, during the cricket season, almost every single day, he could not possibly return home before 10 p.m. There's no way, because you're traveling with, whether it's presentation, whether it's central zone, whatever it is, that is what was going on with him. He sacrificed. In fact, we always felt that Prayers was his second home. I believe family felt that Prayers was his first home, right? He loved that school unconditionally and with a deep, deep, deep passion. He would have done anything for presentation of scholarship honors. And that is what we know. That's the greatness of the man that we know. I could go on and on and on for hours talking about things that he would have done. He impacted my life personally very, very significantly. When I now started to teach, I had sent for a parent, a child didn't do some work and whatever. Parent came, was very aggressive. And I'm now in the service and threatened to beat me and didn't know. I said, no. The man's smaller than me, so I never take him, it doesn't matter. But out of the corner, I hear, what the hell are you doing here? Who are you talking to? Loud to know, get out of here. Get out of here now. With this stupidness. And the man, sorry, loud, and turned his back. And knew there and then that he would always have my back. He would always, just as when I was a student, when I was a teacher, he still would have cared for me so much. A man's legacy is determined and measured by his achievements and the lives that he touched. There are three things for me that stand out in his life that tells of the greatness of this guy. The first, 1995, he was awarded the Hummingbird Medal Gold. In those days, that's what we had. He was awarded that for his contribution. That is what they gave on Independence Day, the awards given out by the president. He was awarded that for his contribution Not everybody is get that, right? That was his contribution. And he was recognized for all his sacrifices that he made to the national cricket community. As for presentation, there was the Sagari Subas tournament held every summer in Barbados since 1986. A few years ago, he was honored there because they recognized that he, every single year, he brought a team to Barbados, every year. But that's the next story, how this used to go down. I wouldn't have time to go into that one. That was a real story. And in those two instances, those two examples, right, measured his achievements. 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, when he got his heart attack, came to school after, and he was talking, and he was saying that it costed X amount of dollars. I don't have that money, I don't have insurance. We sat and we spoke. We told him, listen, make your appointment. We will get that money for you. Somehow. We don't know how, but we will get it. It took 2 phone calls in a day, in a age we had no social media, nothing. It took 2 phone calls and a lot of word of mouth. And in less than 2 weeks, we had over $120,000 to give him for him to get his operation. The reason we had that is because students, past students, flooded the school with donations, not just cricketers, regular Jews, regular past students, flooded the school with contributions. There's one gentleman in particular, I will not call him, former national cricketer, now start to play for Trinidad and Tobago. That was his first season. One morning, I was sitting there, he comes into school, hands me an envelope. So what is this? Nah, no, come on, very fixed, and I no collect my salary. And just as he got it, he handed it. This is for. That is the man, that is the great man. I feel very honored and privileged to have known him. I know he will surely and sorely be missed and but never forgotten. And that's not being cliche. That's reality. He is never, ever, ever going to be forgotten. Lama Kowlessar, you are the greatest man I have ever met in my life. And I hope that you can rest in peace, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein. Gentlemen, my name is Prash Ramsing. When I was asked by the family to bring greetings on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago umpires and to chair this program for the rest after the pundit, which is one of the most difficult things to do. Mr. Lalman Kowlessar, but before I go forward, I would like to recognize one of his very close associates, Mr. Rubero from the former Presentation College, Mr. Rubero, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, members of staff of the Trinidad and Tobago Board, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket umpires, teachers, other staff members of the Presentation College, Ministry of Education, and those streaming online, viewing online, and the officer from the Trinidad and Tobago Board, Tamara. Ladies and gentlemen, Lalman Kowlessar. Lalman Kowlessar. Yeah, thank you. Lalman Kowlessar, commonly called Cow. Lately, he was known as the Silver Fox because of his white hair. And as you can hear from Mr. Hussein, he was involved in everything. And do you know, they started to call him Saltman because he was involved in everything. And how I remember him clearly, I've known him for about 20 years. I became closely associated with him. as he became the president of the Toronto Cricket Umpires for 6 years. And right in this room to your left, there was a big meeting going on. He was conducting as the chairman, president. And there was some conflict going on, and the constitution was drawn into play by a member. And they said that according to Article so. And he was listening, but Cow, being the gentleman who was serious, but with a smile, and he'll take serious things to be humor and laugh, and he's serious. And when the person done made his comment and his contribution, Cow said, listen to me. You see that constitution, I want to take it and throw it through that window. And you get the hell out of here. Meeting done. The gentleman walked out. When he was walking, Cow said, listen to me. I am the constitution, not that. He went on and we continued talking and whatnot. Coming to the end of his tenure, because the constitution, he could only serve 6 years for any president of the umpires. And coming to the end of his tenure in 2013, we were looking for a replacement for him. This other guy who came forward and asked to be positioned for that portfolio. Cow asked the man, what do you have? How are you going to win that? He said, well, I have this zone and I have that zone and I have that zone. And everybody supported me. Cow says, so what the hell you come by me for? You win that already? I cannot help you. The guy got up and he left. Next day I called him. He said, Paras, what do you want? I said, I want the position. He said, what do you have? I said, I have nothing. He said, come on meet me. Come meet him. And I met with him. He said, so you want the position, you have nothing? I said, no. He said, okay, the position is yours. I will help you. And I was there as the president. At the very first meeting inside the room here that I was chairing, the meeting went on to 3 hours and 15 minutes. I always remember that. 2015, the end of 2015. When the meeting done, I was heavily criticized to the worst. I went home trembling. And he said, you are sitting on a national chair. And that is what I put you there for. Listen to me, you are fired. I called him on the phone, he started to laugh. He said, check me tomorrow. After that, every single meeting that I was attending to, I made sure I went home and picked up Cow. His wife picked him up. And in the conversation coming down to Balmain, we discussed leadership, control of meetings, how it is done, when to, when not to, how to act, what to observe. I ended up serving 6 years until 2019. Thank you, Cow. Cow, and I heard Hussein talk about the impacting of youth cricketers. Cow was a part of a lot of umpires who went on to international and world stage. Peter Nehru, a former international cricket umpire, now chairman of the West Indies panel. Cow impacted on that gentleman a lot. Joel Wilson, who is now in the top 12 in the world, and the other regional umpires, Cow would have impacted on them. There's Bassar, the Kelman Kowlessar. There's Anthony Sanwa, Lyndon Rajkumar, Danish Ramdani. Cow made a big contribution to that. And as Mr. Hussein was talking about Barbados, in 2019 at the last Sagafield Sobers tournament before the COVID-19, I had an umpires meeting in Barbados, and it coincided with the Sagafield Sobers tournament. And I stayed at the same hotel with the presentation boys. And one night, about 8 o'clock, everybody lying in the gallery and we was talking. Of course, a man, he have what the phone we call up to. He want to hear nothing else other than that. He had the only number, he had the to answer, and he will smile and laugh. So the guys was talking about texting, sending messages from this phone to that phone and whatnot. And Cow said, what is texting? One of the guys said, well, sir, that is sending a message from me to him. He says, so why the hell you don't get up and don't give it to him? What you doing here texting what? I start to laugh. However, came back, Cow is an icon. He has contributed to so many lives. He has impacted on me also. He's an icon. He is the longest serving cricket administrator in Trinidad and Tobago as is now. As is now, he is presently a member on the West Indies panel of trading umpires as is now. He is, as is now, the chairman of the National Appointment Committee with Azim Basrat, myself, and Anne-Marie Charles, who's Secretary of the Empires, four of us. And early on this year, when he was in the hospital, a couple of times I had to go and meet with him because they were appointed to the Red Force team. I had to go to the president, to Mr. Kowlessar, we need to get umpires here. So what you coming here for? So they cannot do the umpire, can you talk to Mr. When you call Azim, I tell him that he called Azim, the president. He said, what happened? You cannot umpire, I said, I'm dead now, what you going to do? So he is still the sitting chairman. And of course, an executive member of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Umpires. This man has died with his boots on. He's an icon. He is irreplaceable. That shoes is too big to fill. It's very difficult. I know we are pressed for time and we can move on, and there are some other speakers after me, but ladies and gentlemen, to the bereaved family, on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Umpires, we are here to assist you. Our prayers are with you in this most difficult. And any assistance required, please, we are here to help. On behalf of my family, my own personal life, I thank you. I now call Rafi Ali from Esmeralda Sports Club.
Good morning, everybody. I'll just wait on the chairman of the County Cricket Association to be here with me. I was asked on behalf of Esmeralda Sports Club and also County Cricket Association just to bring out, just to send their condolences to the family. And you know, in Islam there is said, Inna Ilahi wa Inna Ilahi Rajiun. From God we belong, and to whom is our eventual return. And you know, Mr. Rahman was very instrumental in playing for Esmeralda Sports Club. He was one of the youngest captains at the age of 18 years, and that is in Enterprise Village. And he was known for his straight balls. You know, all the batsmen were playing for turn, and that time was straight ball, and he was getting them out as soon as they come in. Also, I would rather say a few words on behalf of the CCA, that's the County Cricket Association, which was established in 1976. And he was the first chairman of the association. You know, and we had developed, it's a minor league at right now, but at those days there was a new league for the smaller clubs that will be playing under the auspices of the Central Zone, and also the Football Board. So, to the Beauty family, I would just like to say, you know, God doesn't give him more than he could handle, and he never rest in place now. Thank you.
Thank you from Esmeralda County Cricket Association. I now call on the president of the Trinidad Cricket Board, Mr. Azim Basrat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. To the bereaved family, friends, good morning. It is always difficult to speak about someone who you would have known for so long and who would have made an impact on your life. Today, as all of us gathered here this morning to pay tribute and to show our respect to this very unique individual, Mr. Kowlessar has been involved in cricket, from what I understand, from since in the 70s as the representative from the Presentation College would have indicated 1968. He joined Presentation and then he became the coach and manager of the school team. At the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board level, when the cricket board was formed in 1980, Mr. Kowlessar had been a member of this board, and he ceased to be a member on the 30th of October this year after the elections. I have known Mr. Kowlessar since about 25 years ago, sometime in 1996, 97. It was the first time I saw him and I met Mr. Kowlessar. He visited Princess Town, where, as a member of the National Training Committee of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Umpires Council, and I, being a young umpire at that time, went to this training. And as the teacher from Presentation indicated, he didn't need any of the law books to quote word for word what about the laws of the game. And a particular law he was doing, he didn't have the book in his hand, but he was quoting word for word on that particular law. And we, the trainees, had our book, and we were astounded to know that this man seems to know the law book by heart. And that was my first impression of this great individual. And then, getting to know him better, when I became a member of the board, we became very close. And Mr. Kowlessar, the advice that Mr. Kowlessar would have given to the young administrators at that time, we had no other choice but to listen to him and to take his guidance. During the period of 2005 to 2009, when Mr. Derek Murray was president of the board, and things were not going well, after every meeting, the meeting used to be held upstairs here, and after every meeting, me, Mr. Kowlessar, and one or two other members of the executive would have left the meeting immediately after it finished. And walking down the stairs on the western side, and Mr. Kowlessar would say, "We have to get rid of them people, them don't have cricket at heart." And that was the individual. He had cricket in his heart. Cricket was part of his life, if not his life. Any part of Trinidad and Tobago where youth cricket will be played, you will find Mr. Kowlessar there. Every nook and cranny, from Marak Moruga to St. Julian, Princestown, to Rosilak in the southwest, to Sandy Grande, anyway, you will find Mr. Kowlessar. Mr. Kowlessar served the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board with distinction. He served as the second vice president for about 9 years, and during that time, he was very, very influential in some of the major decisions that the board would have taken. He also served during that time as the chairman of the National Senior Selection Panel. He would have served as a member for many years on the Junior Selection Panel. Mr. Kowlessar was the first manager of the Trinidad and Tobago under 15 team that went to play in the West Indies tournament in St. Lucia in 1995. The teacher from Presentation College would have also mentioned his sojourn to Barbados. And yesterday or Friday, in speaking to some of the people in Barbados, every single individual I spoke to in Barbados know Mr. Kowlessar very well. Let me add that all the presidents across the Caribbean, the Guyana Cricket Association, the Guyana Cricket Board, the Jamaica Cricket Association, the Leeward Islands Cricket Association, and the Windward Islands, all of them send their deepest condolences to the family because every single one of them would have known Mr. Kowlessar on a personal basis. The Vice President of the West Indies Cricket Board, who I've spoken to yesterday, would have also sent his condolences to the family. I spoke also to the President of the West Indies Cricket Umpires Council, Mr. Cecil Fletcher from Jamaica yesterday, and he also sent his condolences because he's very familiar not only with Mr. Kowlessar, but also his son, Kelman. So across the Caribbean, Mr. Kowlessar's death will affect the people from across the Caribbean. He would have served cricket, as I said before, he served the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board with distinction. Definitely, he will be someone who we will miss for his witty ways. I heard the principal, the teacher talked about the going into the classroom at Presentation College with the Louis D'Armor book in his hand. But Mr. Kowlessar would have told us a story where the principal at a meeting, when they were teaching, and the principal was complaining that there are some teachers who would have been going into the class and not going with a textbook. Well, Mr. Kowlessar on one occasion have to go to one of the classes. What he told us was that he saw a book on the desk because he's not accustomed going with the history book. So he saw a book on the desk and he took the book and he went to the classroom with it. So one of the students saw the book. They said, sir, is a maths book you bring here? He told the student, he said, why you not shut your mouth and mind the business? So on a lot of occasions, also card playing, and he would have played a lot of cards right here, right where he is now, on a table about 5-6 years ago. Many evenings, he and Sam Phillip and Pimti Ramnarayan Singh, deceased Pimti Ramnarayan Singh, and others will have played a lot of card games here. We know also that he loved cards. I remember also that Mr. Kowlessar coming to meetings. Every meeting he come to, Mr. Kowlessar coming with his 2 hands to me. So one day I asked him, I said, but how you come in meeting without a diary, nothing to take no notes or anything? He said, well, get one for me and I will walk with it. So I got a diary for him. I got one and I give it to him. So the next meeting he come, he walked with the diary on the desk. So after the meeting, we line after. I said, but I see you write nothing in the diary. He said, well, you didn't tell me to write nothing, you never walk with it. And I think that was the last diary I gave him. The last time I ever told him anything. But Mr. Kowlessar, I know that he was one of the persons responsible for I being the president of the cricket board since 2009. He will have supported me, I can't repay him for the support that he would have supported me. On many occasions, people would have indicated to me that Mr. Kowlessar told them that if ever you have to vote for anybody as president of the cricket board, make sure and vote for Azam, because he controls a lot of vote. I spoke to him on the 20th of November, Saturday night, about 8 o'clock. We spoke for about half an hour. And Mr. Kowlessar was due to contest an election on the 27th of November. And I appealed to him. I said, Cow, with this age, I don't want to go through the stress to contest any election. I wanted to withdraw your name. Don't go through that. And I promised him that we are going to make him an honorary member of the board. I told him with his age and the contribution that he had made for cricket in Trinidad and Tobago, at this time of your life, you deserve to be an honorary member of the board. And Mr. Kowlessar promised that he was going to withdraw. However, 2 days later, he didn't withdraw because he wanted to contest. He liked the election fever and so on. And unfortunately, he wasn't victorious in the election. But I spoke to him after the election and he was in very good spirits. I spoke to him about 2 weeks ago and he was in very good spirits. We had to appoint umpires for a national trial game and chatted. And he was very, very good. So when the news came to me on Wednesday morning, I was shocked. I was still in bed and I saw it on Facebook around 7:10 or 7:08. And I was shocked when I saw that. I never knew he was ill. And I'm quite sure that many of you were shocked to hear of his untimely passing. The Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, as I said before, that we will miss Mr. Kowlessar. He did serve us very honestly and sincerely. He did make a valuable contribution to cricket in Trinidad and Tobago. If nobody made a contribution, Mr. Kowlessar did make his contribution. This morning, I want to give the family the assurance that the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board will honor Mr. Kowlessar in a way that will be satisfying to the family. We will not do anything without consulting the family. But the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board will honor Mr. Kowlessar in a way that he richly deserves. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. President, Peter Speaker, for the condolences. Mr. Kowlessar, last week before, for those of you who follow cricket, Australia is hosting England in the Ashes series. The first two tests, second test which was last week, and that second test started 12 o'clock in the night and finished 6:30 in the morning. That man watched cricket every single night. I cannot watch cricket every night. So in the morning, I don't call him. Yeah. I see what my song is out. I got the last week. I'm tired. Then I said, you're losing sleep and frustrating yourself. You know what you say, man, tell me that if I watch it, I like it. The third test started last night. And I'm sure right now, India, South Africa is hosting India. Had he been a week today, he would have been able to predict and say what was going to be the outcome of those games. Rest in peace, Mr. Kowlessar. I'm advised by the pundit that we still have 15 minutes now. So we could still take 2-3 minutes depending on the floor. I know one of his close associates, Mr. Rivero. I don't know if you want to say anything. He spoke highly of you. And I know you would know me, but I know a lot of you through Mr. Kowlessar.
A very pleasant good morning to all gathered here this morning and to the bereaved family. Very special condolences from the Presentation College family. Mr. Tony was saying represented us so well, left very little for me to say. But one thing about this great man's legacy that will always remain with me is that Cow was always a teacher. 10 years ago, we traveled to Miami together with the Presentation College cricket team. And every single night, before he went to sleep, we would spend about 3/4 of an hour speaking about the history of Presentation College. How much the college meant to him, how much it meant to cricket, how much it meant to Trinidad as a formative institution. And then invariably in mid-sentence, after an hour talking, he would start to snore. And my mind would run on his dear wife and say, how could she put up with this lovely sound every night? And then, towards the last few days, we went on a trip to a mall, and Cow decided he was going to walk through the mall and look for something for his family. After an hour, we did not see Cow. We looked all over the mall, we did not see Cow. And again, I was telling myself, how can I tell his daughters that we lost their father in Miami? And then you heard pop up, a taxi pulled up, and there was Cow in the backseat of a taxi, regal like a king. He walked through the mall and he got lost, and he said he wasn't walking anymore, so he hired a taxi to drive him around the car park until he could find the Presentation College bus. That was the adventurous man. And the last story I could tell would be Cow's history of going to Barbados every year with the cricket team. And every year when I was there, he would try to enable me to go, but the exigencies of the work prevented me from going. But Cow would sit with me after every Barbados tour and talk in living color about what went on the field, what went on off the field, how the cook curry goats, how his wife organized everything so nicely for them. And he would speak with great pride about the youngsters of Presentation College and how they reported themselves. So Cow, you can rest in peace here today, because you know that the good work you have put in the college, on and off the field, resonates right now with cricket fraternity. Many young men in this country owe their lives and their careers to you. And I'm sure that you'll meet all of them in final resting space, but not too long from now. Rest in peace, Cow, from Presentation College, Shibbones. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. We have 10 more minutes before 5 more minutes for one more speaker. I leave the floor open. One more person come forward and say something before we go into the room of the body and travel to return. Anyone? One more?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everyone. If you all don't know, my name is Kowlessar, and last son of my dad. I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. Me and my dad, we got very close over the last couple of years. And Mr. Hussein would have mentioned about watermelon. Up to this day, he still asks me to bring watermelon for him. Every week or every other week, I'll still carry a watermelon for him. And I will always remember when I see watermelon, I'll always remember my dad. That's one of the things I'll remember him for. He always, son, I will brand this side. He says, son, not any watermelon on that side. And I will always pick up, try to do a little research and see which watermelon would be the sweetest. And I always used to try and carry that watermelon for him. I remember the first time on the lights intercol. We won the intercol final first time on the lights. And for our reward, we got slices of watermelon. And son, when other teams would have been celebrating so much joy thing, he kept it simple. And we all appreciated him for what he did. Of recent, I took up the post of President of the Umpires Association, and I think that made him very proud. That made him very proud. So I want to say to him that I am here. I will take up your mantle. I will try my best to do what you would like to make you proud. But before I go, this week the Alumni Association of Presentation College would have asked students to put up their fondest memories of my dad. To put up fondest memories of my dad. And I will just read through a few of those memories. From Ronnie Cantor Singh, boy, come here. You have heart problems? Now, if any of you know my dad, before he disciplined you, he would ask you if you have any heart problems. It's ironic, okay? And he would ask if you have any sickness. If you said no, 6 strokes on the spot. Licks one time. But even if you had heart problems or you were sick, you wouldn't want to tell him that. Because you would have to write a 500-page essay on what you have just done or the reason for him disciplining you. So you would want to say, sir, no, I'm not sick, because you don't want to write a 500-page essay. And when you do write your 500-page essay, in some instances, you would just throw it away. So he was a person like that. And we move on. One from Wayne Bolai, one of the guys in my class did terrible in his test. When giving out the results, he said, "Bye, you so stupid, you can't even pass water." from Darren Mohammed, probably shared by all press boys. Our years being sent to get our own whip from the tree to cut my own ass. He would send you to the tree in the front to pick your own whip and then beat you with it. He was very special in his own way. Sunil Ramjit Singh. Cow caught a guy in my class with a magazine. Cow said, what is that, young man? Student smartly replied, a magazine on birds, sir. Cow takes the magazine and opens it. It's a penthouse magazine. Cow, those are local birds. Raj Nai, thanks to this man, he made me who I am today. I was a dunce in school. He came into my class one day, sat on his table and pointed to a few of us in class. Stand up, he said. We stood in shame, heads bent. He proceeded, you are a disgrace to your family. You will never be anything in these words. Those words stayed with me and I often laugh silently when I see my life now. I will wear my uniform proud in your honor. Wayne Bolai, we are about to write O-levels. He shut the doors and windows during his last class with us. He said, I know we talk to you all about morals, etc. over the years, but if you get a chance to expose your paper for a colleague to see, or if you get a chance to see a next man's papers, watch it. It is the rest of your life at stake right now. Then he called out a couple of the not so bright ones and told them they could hide their papers. He was brutal but hilarious. Fawaz Ali, putting $5 gas in his old 606 before driving to cricket game in Cooper with about 6 of us round in his vehicle. Silvan Naidu, best coach, not just cricket, the man had an uncanny vision of life. Ryan Gavin Komabach, rolling the damn cricket pitch in midday sun as penance. Nigel Ramlogan getting sent during history class to pick up dead grass off the field. Joel Patel, boy, who's your father? And then pulling the table towards him while sitting. Oh yeah, smelling like pack of Broadway. Dinesh Maharaj, I have so many memories of Mr. Kowlessar. As all of my seasons are between 1994 to 1999. Were full of excitement both in Trinidad and Suba's tournament in Barbados. He was an excellent manager and the first to have won Intercol finals in Baraka under lights when we beat Chibona Senior in 1998. We had an amazing and talented team, and he was superb when it came to managing his teams. He produced some of the excellent cricketers, some of who went on to represent West Indies. He's the only manager to take his team to Barbados for 12 consecutive years. A true leader. Prince Balki. I played at Press from 1987 to 1989 and won 2 national championships. He always pushed me to be better. In 1990 at the University of Connecticut, I started a team now dedicated to Kowlessar. And there's so much more. So I want to thank all of you. You may have touched everyone's lives in some way. And I'm sure that where he is now will be better. And he'll be looking down on us. Thank you very much.
Morning. I'm Randy Pedro, son-in-law. For those of you who know my father-in-law, he's a man who believed in God, and one very close friend of him mentioned the other night, you never know that religion, but he believed. Some of the memories that will live with me, sitting there, there's a sacred heart. And I've never seen anybody done that before. You never pass that sacred heart without giving it reference. Never, never. You will pass from the living room to the shop. If you have to walk 20 times, you will adore it. One day in Barbados, I think it was that same year, 2018. 2018, it's 2018. We were sitting around, and this is a guy there. He said, Ran, when I used to book the tickets and so on for him, he never cared about the money from the children and so on. So a little guy, they said, that little boy, I don't pick up the money from him. The grandmother said, so I ain't gonna have the pension yet, Pass back now. I said, Daddy, what you do? He said, who, me? Taking your pension to me? I ain't going back. But the little boy was in Barbados, right? That's the kind of man that he was. A little joke that he always brought a little smile on his face to share. Presentation College had probably their anniversary or something, and they had back then Archbishop Anthony Pantin was the Archbishop. So all the teachers and students leaving to go to the church. So everybody called him and saw him. Cow, let's go to the church. And he said, me? I ain't going to no church. You can't get me in that. He said, boy, let's go. Somebody tell him, he said, watchman, the Archbishop have to come here and tell me I go to the church. So he said he started outside the school and he line, His Grace Anthony Pantin came up. Sir, where is the church? He said, well, go so, make a right, make a left. The Archbishop said, come, sit down in the car. Come sit down in the front seat. He said, when I reach the church, the entire church laughing because the Archbishop had to bring him to church. So that, you will always remember that as selfless, you did everybody, you show love to all the in-laws, your children. Daddy will leave home any hour of the night to pick up anybody. I heard stories before I joined the family. The car, he was almost like a midwife too, because they want anybody in the village in labor, he's the one they will go to, and for that, for what you have done for us, for Crystal, myself, all on behalf of all the children, mommy, you loved us selfless. We traveled a lot together. He was never a father. He enjoyed himself. Just being around his family, just knowing that we are there. Today, I say goodbye. Know that we love you. You will always be loved, never forgotten.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saeed Rahman. I'm also son-in-law of Landon Kowlessar. On behalf of I'm here to bring a vote of thanks. On behalf of the family, we'd like to thank each and every one of you who made it here today to celebrate his life. Dad has, as everyone has indicated, impacted on many people. I think today a lot of people spoke about his impact from the aspect of cricket. I joined a family where I was not into cricket, and I'm the first person to marry into the family. First time meeting him was also a very memorable one. I had to come in, meet him in his gallery, never seen me before, and tell him I just write off your daughter's vehicle. And don't worry, I will see about its repairs. So that was my first encounter with him. But over the years, one of the things that I learned from him was that he is a person that loves to connect. There's a saying in my religion, وَلَا خَيْرَ فِي مَنْ لَا يَعْلَفُ وَلَا يُعْلَفُ. There's no goodness whatsoever in that one who does not like to connect with others or others do not like to connect with him. And certainly he is a person who connected with everyone. And so bringing a vote of thanks is very difficult because there are so many people to thank. And he has impacted the lives of so many. One of the things I knew when I joined the family was that his house was always a haven. I can count during the time that I have been in this family of at least 10, if not families or individuals that lived in his house for extended periods. Whether it were underprivileged kids that he would take care of for years, families that he would take care of. I remember one year there was a big flood in Caroni. You couldn't see the entire of Caroni, entire of Kelly. And he was coming, and there was an old woman, and he stopped and he said, she told him that she was living such and such place. And he brought her home, and she lived in the house for a few days until the flood went down and she could have gone back to her home. And that was the kind of person he was. And so it's very, very difficult to thank all of those who have impacted in his lives and our lives. But first of all, I'd like to thank the pundits for carrying on today's service. Thank you so much. And what you will continue to do as the day progresses. I would like to thank Tony, Mr. Anthony Hussein, and all the rest, Mr. Ribeiro and others from the presentation family, which was, as mentioned, his first home. I wouldn't say his second home, his first home. I would also like to thank his dear friends, Mr. Barasinger, other members, Mr. Bassarat, Paras, all those from the cricketing fraternity, his neighbors, people like Mr. Carlyle, Ms. Doreen, others who live in the area, who really supported the family even before he was ill, and continue to support mom and everybody else at home. I would also like to thank those from the medical fraternity. One of the things about being a presentation college teacher for many years is that the likelihood of meeting a graduate when you're in a hospital is very high. And most people hate going to the hospital for treatment. Dad never mind going to the hospital. From the time he wasn't feeling well, he wanted to go to the hospital. And when he got there, he would receive royal treatment. I would like to especially thank Trisha from the CEO's office. She and Dad, gave her the news. She started to cry in the office. She said that was like a father. That he came one day and showed up with a cake for her daughter. He didn't know her daughter, but he brought a baby cake for her. And that was the person he was. And all the doctors, whether it be at Mount Hope, those who took care of him in San Fernando, those at Augustus Long, who would call every night and speak to me and give me an update on what was happening with him, we'd like to thank you sincerely. Anytime I met one of his students who was a doctor and I asked, what do you remember of him? They would all quote one line, that the road of the transgressor is extremely difficult. Something that he spoke to them about and stuck in their minds, probably because they had to write it as penance, but it was something that all of them would attest to. So once again, I would like to thank everyone here and thank the cricket board for the use of the facilities. And, Dad, You lived a life that was full, and you told my wife just a few days at your birthday, you know that you have lived a full life, and certainly you did. You have set a standard that is very high to fill, but as members of the family, we will try to endeavor to walk in your footsteps as best as we can and impact people as you have impacted through your life. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to the public now.
So much have been said about one man. So many shoes have fit him in his past, in his normal life. But he came and he gave it his best shot. He lived. And the essence of living in this form is to be a human. And if you live the life of a genuine human being, then all the speakers were spoken a few minutes ago. They were referring to a genuine human being who have fulfilled his cause upon this earth. Because we came with human form, sometimes because of time and circumstances, it changes us. And not everyone live in conformity, being and acting just like a human being, in thought and word and in deed. What all the speakers have said is that Mr. Lalman Kowlessar have lived a genuine human life. And whatever religion you believe in, whatever words you use in your prayer, or howsoever you, God will listen to you. And the most important thing that when you come on this land, when you come on the earth, when you serve a human being, then it is said in most scriptures, when you serve human being, then you have served God. So we see, after all have been said, that Rahman Kowsara have served God. And if you serve God, then certainly you will enter into his heavenly kingdom, where the Lord will be proud to receive you. So in our hearts today, we will say our final prayer and ask the divine Lord to receive that spark that you placed on this money many years ago. And today, with all of us here present, we ask Him, Lord, in our little way, to please, O God, accept the soul and grant him the blessings that he so deserved. At this point in time, I ask the wife first to come. So this is his wife. Just one. If any member of the family, his daughters, grandchildren wish to do a archery, they can come in a group 3 times. Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya Shonamita. Do poem touched by the devil. It is pretty expensive. Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya Shonamita. Deepoyam Mahadevita Pushtata. Anyone again? Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya Shonamita. Mahadevita Pushtata. Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya. Deepoyam Mahadevita Pushtata. Om Tilakam Shamahatani Pakana Shamataran Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya Sugandhamahadevita Pushtata. Om Sri Pushpanjali Mahadevita Pushtata. Om Shri Deepoyam Mahadevita Pushtata. Om Adyama Gurtasya Amokritasya Shonamita. invitation to anyone waiting for push down. So friends, family, wife, children, well wishes, this ceremony here has ended. Within the next few minutes, we will start on our journey to the water cremation site. Because of the pandemic, I want everyone to observe the protocol. Please stay your distance apart. I don't know how many people will be allowed into the cremation site, but those who are in white will surely be allowed in. So you can park in the car park in groups of 5 or 6, maybe they can't allow you from talking, deliberating. But you can stay apart, you can look at the flames from a distance, because not everybody will be allowed, and unless you meet some nice policemen who say, well, we can allow maybe 5 or 6 more. So at this point in time, before we do the last thing, before we remove the body, I'll ask them to stand, and then we'll get into the Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva 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 Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Om Anadi Damo Deva Shankar Chakadadara Akshya Pundrikaksha Preta Moksha Pradhova Preta Moksha Pradhova Preta Moksha Pradhova Hari Om Tat Sat Hari Om Tat Sat Hari Om Tat Sat Praise Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. So everybody can sit and you can gather in a line and do that. All right. There is a condolence book here. Please, those who wish to sign it.